What is up, people of the multiverse? Welcome back to a brand new Crisis on Infinite Earths video, and I've been quite looking forward to making this video because when I upload videos, what do you guys do? I mean, usually, I would hope that you would like the video if you know what. Can I wink? No. But also you leave comments, and I try my best to read every single comment, especially when it came to the Crisis, part 1, 2, and 3, and a lot of you left very, very interesting comments. So today, I'm going to be, well, you probably already know this from the title, I'm going to be reading your comments on Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then just, I don't know, reacting to them, I guess, and just seeing if I agree with it, disagree, or just whatever. Like, I think it's an interesting idea for a video. I'm just going to scroll down, see what happens on each part, and then just see what happens with the video. So maybe your comment might get featured in this, maybe it might not. But yeah, we're going to go through all three of my reviews for Crisis Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. So if you guys go on to enjoy this video, I would really appreciate if you leave a like on it. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. I could do reading your comments on other shows as well. Other than that, subscribe for more videos like this. Check out my past couple of videos appearing in the cards above. But other than that, let's get into this. So going to the search bar, BobaTalks. By the way, if it seems zoomed in, it's because I've just got one of those like wide monitors, so it's like cropped out the edges of the YouTube. And there is my channel. You can see my latest Mandalorian video. Check that out. If you, this is so much plugging right now. Check it out. I got a Stargirl video there. It's good to see that when I type in BobaTalks, these actually appear. Thank you, YouTube. But yes, we need to find. We need to talk about that ending. Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Up, oh my God. Sorry if you heard that. That was my voice. I hate it when it does that. But right. Oh, I just realized my tripod is in the way. I can't really see much of your. God damn it, that's annoying. Robert Wall and Danny Elfman's Batman theme had me jumping up and down with joy and nostalgia by American Paiser there. Yeah, I agree. That was a very interesting part. I appreciate what Crisis have been doing so far with like the cameo stuff. Some landed better than others, especially the Lucifer one. That was my favorite one. I think that the Batman symbol in the sky at the start was actually Batman Beyond, as it looked very similar. I don't think, canonically, that's what it's meant to be, especially with the newspaper. Like, this is kind of the awkward bit with Crisis, almost, because that was the Batwoman symbol. Of course, yeah, you could liken it to the Batman Beyond one, but in the paper, you can clearly see that's like the Michael Keaton Batman, capturing Joker. It was just a bit of like weird adding up that they did. I don't know. What was missing in Oliver's death scene was the weight, the heaviness of it. Like in season 2 of Arrow, when Tommy appeared to him telling him, get up, Oliver, get up and fight. I really felt the weight behind that scene. They cut all of that out when they didn't show the fight. They could have made it so dramatic, so many callbacks, flashback. This is what I meant. Like, you are getting it. Because let me preface this video, by the way, if you've even got this far, assuming none of you have clicked off. I mean, some of you would have. Whatever I say in this video isn't meant to be hate. It's not me hating on the shows. It's not me getting bored of the shows. It's not anything like that. I'm just being purely honest with my opinions. And I agree. I said that there was something missing from Oliver's death. And now we know that he's back. I will give it the benefit of the doubt, saying, oh, maybe when they plan to do whatever they do with him again, maybe that will be more feelsy. Whether he dies or not. Or whether he's meant to be the Spectre for the remainder of his days or whatever. They could still do a sad thing with that, right? They could still do a sad thing with him saying goodbye to people or something or another. But even if that is the case, that means, let's say he doesn't die again, his actual death was kind of a letdown. And it was, I mean, not to everyone. Let me say that. I don't mean to say it as a fact. That's my opinion. I really do have to say that because some people do get mad. And, I know I'm not the only one feeling this, which is the good thing. I've seen lots of comments about this crossover being kind of underwhelming, this, that, and the other. Maybe that's due to overhype, but we'll get onto those comments a little bit later, maybe, if I read any of them out. And the same feeling is with Oliver Queen. I was saying it felt like something was missing. I was kind of giving some feedback, saying maybe if we saw Oliver like clawing his way out, and then you had people saying, come on, this is a family-friendly show, that it's not like they go. That's not what I meant. I didn't mean seeing Oliver getting demolished or anything like that. I just wanted a bit more of a, I don't know, yeah, the shadow demons were coming, and we saw Oliver like go scream battle cry into them and then teleport, but it was just, for the original hero of the Arrowverse, like the guy everyone listens to, this, that, and the other, it's just it was lacking something. But as I said, the crossover's not ended yet. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to die again. Maybe he will. But if he doesn't, then that means his actual death in the crossover was a little bit... Yeah. But, you know, don't get me wrong, though. I did feel stuff in that moment, but I was kind of let down about it a little bit. A lot of you were pointing this out as well. Newton says you could argue that the Monitor did not know that the arrow could hurt him. He didn't know it was a weaponized antimatter, and that's actually something I didn't take into account. Was it the antimatter arrow? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. Just because I was saying in the review, like, how did the AI allow that arrow to hit him? Just because he is a cosmic being. But then again, people were pointing out, and I completely agree, and they pointed this out in the future parts, that as the Anti-Monitor grows more powerful, he grows weaker. So for whatever reason or another, plus that may have been the weaponized antimatter arrow just temporarily kind of, you know, disabling the Monitor. That's why he was able to get hit then, and, you know, allow Oliver to save a billion more lives. Shadow demons, more like Dementors, and I'm pretty sure Snape could have done more with that Expecto Patronum. I kind of agree. I think I've already done a Harry Potter joke or something already, but yeah, I was meant to say in that video, especially when Mia, the Atom, Oliver, Batwoman were fighting inside and Supergirl, and you saw all the shadow demons flying outside. They really looked like the Dementors, you know, all kind of collecting together in whatever Harry Potter film I'm referencing. There were in quite a few. Now, to be honest, the comments on the part 1 are fairly tame compared to what I was seeing on part 2 and part 3, because obviously this is the first part, and as I'm browsing through these right now, they just seem to be, you know, fairly, you know, just your typical comments, you know, fairly constructive, fairly, you know, praising it. The part 1 was decent, I guess, apart from, as I said, that ending I didn't really resonate with. And you know, there's definitely not nearly as much complaining, and that's not what this video is about, like seeking out the criticism. But I guess, you know, if I do see stuff like that, I do kind of want to talk about it, maybe more so than other stuff, just because it's an interesting, you know, debate to have with that comment I'm seeing and whatever I'm thinking about it. And it's also just interesting hearing comments like this. Clayden004 saying, I loved every second of this episode. Fair enough. But him saying, this felt like Crisis. It was so high stakes and had an overall feeling of urgency like Infinity War had. So much, but that's the thing. I somewhat disagree. I really do. And that's the thing I will get into in these future comments of the part 2 and part 3 review comment sections we'll get to, is that Crisis on Infinite Earths, I'm enjoying it. I really am, but I don't feel this gravitational weight. It just feels like I am kind of watching like another Elseworlds crossover, and that was good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that had, you know, big stakes. There was a Book of Destiny rewriting whole, you know, huge things. You know, but it just felt like it was an entertaining team up. But for me, at least in my opinion, I just keep thinking to myself, I can't mistake this for something of the scope that Infinity War had, or Endgame. Like, I mean, you can't really make those proper comparisons, but just in the terms of like how that did feel like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? I don't feel that factor of in Crisis like, holy crap, oh my god, is that happening? No, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's cool. Oh, okay, that happened. Like, there are a couple moments where I'm like, oh, that's really awesome, but I'm not being like, oh my god, Barry Allen's about to die. No, I'm just not. Like, it doesn't. I don't feel like the CW is giving off that serious resonance in viewers like me, and I know I'm not the only one to say that. I really am not. Please don't mistake that for hating. I'm just being honest. So Lucky Fam said, I thought it was a decent opener. I agree. This episode was fine, but it didn't wow me, and it does feel a little rushed, but I hope that part 2 will be a lot better. Fair enough. And it's also interesting as well, a lot of people are happy with Titans, but I'm seeing a lot of other comments being like, no. But you know, these people like Hairspray, Guy84, we saw Titans, yes. And a lot of people seem to be wondering about that, just in terms of, does this mean the Titans Earth is gone? Or I don't think it is. I mean, you could argue that a lot of people I'm seeing are saying, is it canonized to the Arrowverse? I mean, you could argue in the multiverse side of things, like anything like that could be included, even the DCEU. And I guess, you know, to be honest, to put it very bluntly, the fact that they showed Jason and Hank, Earth 9, in the Arrowverse, that does kind of, you know, put it plainly that the DC Universe Titans are in the Arrowverse. But at the same time, you're having people saying, but technically, because that was from the unused footage from the original season 1 finale, and that doesn't exist in the Titans we're seeing on DC Universe, they are not canonized to the Arrowverse. So I don't know. I honestly don't know where I land on it, because it's kind of confusing in that way. But you know, I didn't mind seeing them. It was like only like what, 4 seconds, and it was like the footage used of when Jason and Hank were looking at Larry opening up a portal, or whether it was Trigon originally getting defeated. They were just looking at like a glistening light, and they slap banged a red filter on it to make it Crisis, as if like the antimatter wave was coming towards them, and then that was over. Wait, but didn't Joker die in the 89 movie? Yeah, like this is what I mean, like along with the Batwoman signal in the sky. I just don't know what they were doing. I mean, you could just argue, well, he didn't die somehow, but I don't know. It just felt like as much effort that was put into that, it was also like confusing, especially for the people who pay a lot more attention, like us, who go on YouTube and watch these videos of people breaking stuff down and just, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to poke too much of a hole in it, because it was still like something very enjoyable to include in the crossover. Got old Boba, stop nitpicking, let Oliver have his well-deserved death. This is what I mean. I know like when I'm making this video, people are going to get triggered over it, because I'm going to be saying things that, you know, ultimately everyone can have their opinion, but people still get annoyed if you have an opinion different to theirs. And it just kind of, this is why I replied to this, saying I'm not the only one who's saying it, like that there was something missing with it. Yeah, someone else says you're the minority who thinks that the death was fulfilling. I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's just more, you know, another one here felt underwhelming for some reason during the episode. I was so hyped. Maybe people were getting overhyped, or just maybe it's just something about the CW's Crisis, the fact that it's broadcast, not that I'm putting it down here, it just doesn't obviously have the gravitational weight of when you think in your imaginations, Crisis on Infinite Earths, this is the DC's Endgame or Infinity War kind of thing, right? Now the CW are doing it, this is going to be awesome. But when it actually comes to TV, it's like, okay, this is cool, but, you know, it's kind of like, hey, this isn't as good as I thought it would be. It kind of has that vibe sometimes. I'm not saying every second, every minuscule minute of the crossover. I'm just trying to put or make sense of what everyone who is saying that is kind of feeling, and that's kind of how I feel a little bit as well. Diallo Lewis, oh man, these ones always make me laugh. You seem like you don't like females, you always have something negative to say about females. That is literally not true at all. It's like, what? Okay, you criticize one woman on the show, like, and this is most often Mia on Arrow and stuff like that, which I'm pretty sure everyone watching this, or 99.9%, kind of understand where I'm coming from. Granted that I'm enjoying her a lot more now, especially now she's not like, you know, crying and whining at everyone. But like, you say one thing, like critique a female character, and then instantly you have someone in the comment section just saying, you're a woman hater, you sexist Bobalerian Boba. It's like, no, dude. No. Just no. Alright, so to Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. Now, this is probably where things are going to get a little bit more spicy, just because of how things went down with certain characters. So, okay, so let's look through these. So a lot of people here seem to have enjoyed, you know, Kevin Conroy's Batman, but there are also like the split opinions of, oh, you have ruined Batman, even though Kevin Conroy was good. It's like what Kate Kane did to him. It's like, why was that necessary? And I kind of agree with that. So, you know, it's like Kevin was voice acting while acting. I know what you mean. He sounded like Batman from the animated series walking around. I agree, like he was perfect. And of course he sounded like that because he is, you know, Batman from the animated series. We don't deserve Brandon Routh as Superman. He was just great. And then, yeah, I'm going to save my thoughts as to what happened to him with Lex for the part 3 reading the comments. But for what we have seen of him, he was the most Superman out of Tyler and him. I definitely think so. I'm not a Tyler hater. A lot of people seem to put him down. But I have to say it. Yeah, like Brandon Routh is kind of a better Superman. At least that might not be Tyler's fault though, and maybe these comments will pop up, but I don't know why the CW just always want to put Tyler Hoechlin Superman down. He is always inferior to everyone else. Like, I remember scrolling on Twitter on the hashtag, and there were you know, comments saying like, it was like, you know, Superman getting dragged around by Brandon Routh by the cape when they were fighting each other because of Lex, and the caption was something like, oh, like everyone just absolutely rinsing and milking Tyler like for the weakling that he is, or something like that. And it's just like, it's true. I know like they want to do it to bolster Kara up a little bit and stuff like that, but it's like, come on, give Tyler Hoechlin Superman a bit of power. Like, he is He's Superman, for crying out loud. This is the CW Superman. For like, at the end of the day, yes, we've had other Supermen in this crossover, but he's a CW Superman, and you make him look like a little wimp, to be honest. Like, you really do. He's a little bitch, like, compared to everyone else, despite being the Kryptonian Superman. Whereas you've had Brandon Routh in this crossover, and they didn't play it that way with him. He was like, you know, the Man of Steel and, you know, the beacon of hope that he should be. Whereas you've got kind of Tyler Hoechlin's one over there just being like, wannabe kind of cosplayer Superman, if you know what I mean. They could have done so much more with his character. Kevin Conroy was wasted on this. I partially agree and I disagree at the same time. So I get what you're saying there. I think I would have preferred more of a heroic approach. Maybe a Batman who would have been, you know, a hero but just retired in the exosuit. Kate comes to him, gets some advice, realizes still the same way that she's the Paragon, but it doesn't involve killing him. And it was just like a nice trip. Because the way I foresaw it, and this wasn't expectations that led me to be disappointed by that moment. I genuinely think killing Batman with electricity was as dumb as what Titans did with Donna Troy. But I think the fact that this Kate Kane has lost her Bruce, gone to another Earth with Kara, get some wisdom. He thinks, I don't know why this Bruce has done it, but I'm sure he's doing it for a good reason, blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure he'll be proud of you. That would have been so much better, don't you think? If we had Kevin Conroy as a much older Bruce, because this Earth was set in the future, and he's just literally the same Bruce, but he's got nothing but wisdom for Kate. That would have been so cool, don't you think? Rather than, let me honestly say, I did enjoy the darker route, because Batman is like that. He walks a very thin line, and if not, he is kind of a bit crazy, but like, that's what makes him Batman, but he does it for the right reasons. But he can snap, and this is that version of him who has killed a lot of people. But I am probably going to keep repeating myself at this point. So I did enjoy that, did not enjoy the ending of it, but I think overall, if you're going to use Kevin Conroy, I think, especially with the context of Batwoman, and you can't use Batman, and you can't really use Bruce Wayne in it, because that would defeat the whole point of the show. I mean, it would and it wouldn't, because, you know, because she could still be Batwoman even if he did come back. But it would have been the perfect opportunity to have her have a void or like a communication with Bruce, but not her Bruce, but a Bruce. And that would have been invaluable to her, I think. And it still did teach her a lesson with the Dark Bruce, because it taught her that she can't become like him, and she's got to carry on giving hope. That's why she even offered the kryptonite to Kara still. I get that. They did do something with the story there, but it would have been cooler if it was an older version and some, you know, that I think everyone would have been sold a lot more of that. I reckon you would have had unanimous praise. It wouldn't have been, you've wasted this opportunity, what the hell did they do to that Batman? And probably some other comments we're going to read out. The Smallville scene was great, even though Clark losing his powers was kind of lame. It provided a great sense of closure for the series. I kind of agree. Like, I enjoyed it. I also didn't mind that the powers were gone, but one thing I have seen is a whole bunch of comments like this. People saying, what the hell was that Smallville scene? To be fair, this is an interesting one. I didn't like how they handled Bruce, although Kevin Conroy sold evil Bruce role, completely agree. I just can't get behind the whole Batwoman Paragon of Courage thing. I kind of do agree with that. I'm honestly not being a Batwoman hater here. It's just, the show is barely into its season, and she's the Paragon of Courage. I'm just struggling with that she is a Paragon. And I know, like, in the broader scope of things, like, you've got complaints, like, out of infinite universes, you could have literally got Batman from any other universe where he's more or less like the Batman of Earth 1, right? There's infinite universes, so you could have got Green Lantern, Batman, blah, 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 Wonder Woman. But reality sets in. This is the CW licensing characters, what you can use, this, that, and the other. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm really not. You know, that aspect to it, I understand. It sucks because, you know, in theory, you could get any hero. Whereas, you know, with the CW, we just have like 10 people on the poster, when in Crisis on Infinite Earths, things are like monumentally different, but understandably limitations. I know she's one of the pillars of the CW now, and that's why she's the Paragon. But we're not supposed to feel that way. We're meant to feel like she really deserves to be the Paragon next to the Flash. The goddamn Flash. He's had 60... It's just this is where things get difficult with a crossover like this, because I get why they did it, because she's one of the heroes of the shows. I would probably think differently if she had a lot more experience, but she doesn't. So, you know, they did it anyway. I get it. I'm not saying I don't get it, but I'm just saying she doesn't feel like a Paragon when... You know, it's just funny when you think of the Wave Rider, right? Choosing these Paragons out of the whole multiverse, out of the whole infinite Earths out there. Out of all the Green Lanterns, all the Wonder Woman's, infinite versions of them, Batman's, you have the Flash, fair enough. Completely agree with that. The Green Arrow, fair enough. Supergirl and Superman, Brandon Routh, Superman, I completely agree with that. But like, it's just like this Batwoman. I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel natural. But I'm also trying to suspend my thoughts there because it's like, I get it. She's a pillar of one of the shows. She's going to be going on potentially for multiple seasons. It kind of, the timing, it would have been great if, I guess this was introduced a bit earlier, so the CW could have done Crisis, and it would have felt like, oh yeah, it makes sense, Kate Kane's the Batwoman, paragon of courage, but I don't know. Things like this kind of take me out of it a little bit, and I know I'm not the only one there, but I know I'm going to get a lot of comments now saying, Boba, you freaking hater, Batwoman's totally earned this, blah, 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 like she... Really? This comment's fairly true. Was it a big time jump from the Batwoman show, which last crossover she had the suit and she was Batwoman? So yeah, essentially, they caught up to Elseworlds on Batwoman after the first few episodes. But then again, Elseworlds was last year. Yeah, I don't think in Batwoman, the show, there's been like a huge, blatant, that's a lot of time. Like, first few episodes was way before Elseworlds. Then, after episode 3 or 4, they were up to date with Elseworlds, and then like they carried it along. As if there hasn't been much time going in between. But then if you look at it in reality under the microscope, even after they caught up with Elseworlds, they still needed to catch up a whole year to now. So I don't know. It's one of those things where they're not really paying mega attention to detail. Unless I'm missing something very obvious in the Batwoman show, they're just not plastering in your face. I don't think they think it matters too much. And at the end of the day, it's not an insanely important detail. I mean, you can just think to yourself that, oh, like they've just caught up. But, I guess in between episodes, that might bother some people because months and months might have happened in between certain Batwoman episodes, which doesn't reflect how they displayed it, for example, in episodes 6, 7, and 8 on Batwoman. Lex got knocked out by Lois and Iris. I can't stop laughing. Let's just assume he didn't see them as any type of threat. Yeah, I kind of agree. I thought that moment was pretty stupid. Like, I know some people got annoyed. Some people, like, someone said they unsubscribed because of what I said about that moment. But Lex Luthor was there with the book, right? Looking at Superman fight. In front of him was the window of Lois and Iris. Somehow, they go, like, Lex is here, Lois and Iris here, and somehow they go along behind him. Bang. What? There's no way in whatever world, like, I've seen people try and defend this, being like, Lex was too fixated on what he was doing to... No, he wasn't. There's no way in the living hell you would know. Regarding Earth 99 Batman, I presume Kate did recognize Bruce to be her Bruce, right? So if we ever see Bruce and Batman, it would be Kevin Conroy. To be honest, like, yeah, like the way they have put that up, yes. Like, not the evil version of Bruce, but like, in terms of doppelganger, speaking here, Earth 1 Bruce should technically be Kevin Conroy. You could always look at it like Kate just assumes that who was walking down the stairs, older, in a suit, but in the exosuit as well, was Bruce. That's why she was like, Bruce? So you could argue that she didn't recognize him, but just assumed and like thought, oh yeah, that's probably like the Bruce of this world. But the way just everything unfolded in that episode, it does seem as though Kevin Conroy is her Bruce, but she also recognized him as being decades older. How will Diggle become Green Lantern? That's a very good question. If that's going to happen or come to fruition, they did say the answers to his ties to the Green Lantern mythos would be answered. I'm guessing in parts 4 and 5. But we have to wait for quite a few more weeks for that to happen. And then lastly, everyone, we have part 3. Oh god, I didn't mean to add that to the queue. Right, let's do this. So when Earth 90 sacrificed himself, such a tearjerker. Yes, Earth 90's Barry Allen. I admit, like, even though I kind of put it down as a bit too predictable, so I didn't enjoy it as much as maybe other people, it was still a really good moment. Don't get me wrong. It was like it was a very good moment seeing John Wesley's ship take the fall for Barry there, and it was, oh man, how they did the flashback to his own TV show back in the day. It was done very well. It's just I think, well, I couldn't have guaranteed that was going to happen, but it was probably one of the most predictable things to come. I think maybe I thought it was so predictable, though, that I didn't think it was actually going to happen. But then, yeah, lo and behold, it did. But yeah, a great moment. Lex should have replaced Batwoman, like she's going to do more than Superman. Well, you kind of have a point there, I guess. Like, he's a super-powered Kryptonian. But, in a Lex kind of way, of course, he would overwrite Superman. But yeah, yeah, like, let me just skip to this comment down here. Really dislike Lex Luthor and would rather have Superman. I agree. I don't like John Cryer's Lex, to be honest. I know a lot of people do. That is just my opinion. I don't find him like intimidating Lex Luthor. I mean, he's good. Like, he's crafty, he's evil in that way, but I just don't see him as Lex Luthor, you know? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's a very CW Lex Luthor, let me put it that way. And, yeah, I just, Brandon Routh Superman, like, I don't know why they did that. Like, this is just me venting my feelings on it, I guess. Because, yeah, don't get me wrong, I understand why Lex would do that. It's a very Lex thing to do, la-di-da-da. I'm just saying, I think people would have enjoyed it more. I can't speak for everyone if Brandon Routh Superman stuck around for longer. But no, we literally have 8 Paragons, including Oliver, because that's what they said in the trailer. Like, there's only 8 of us left now or something like that. Lex is one of them. And you even see them running towards the Anti-Monitor, and Lex is there. What the hell is Lex Luthor gonna do against Shadow Demons, the Anti-Monitor? You guys know what part I'm on about in the trailer, I assume. So yeah, I don't know. Unless he wrote something in the Book of Destiny to give him some powers or something. I don't know. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't think my mind's going to change either. Loving the Crisis. Lucifer was wow, and also the Hidden Watchman Easter egg. Yeah, I actually missed that. Lucifer was amazing. I completely agree. Wish it was a bit longer, but it was great. But yeah, when they were looking at Lux, you know, and like the like, pan of the camera looking over his Lux club, there was like a little Watchmen ad on like a post. It was pretty brilliant. It was easy to miss because it was one of those transition scenes looking over LA, you know, before it cut to John and Diggle and Mia walking down the alleyway. But maybe rewatch it again if you haven't actually already seen it. But yeah, it was really cool. But speaking about the whole Lex and Superman thing, you know, you got a lot of people who love both, and that's completely fair enough. I both loved and disliked Brandon Routh Superman's ending, but only because I loved his Superman, but I also loved John Cryer's Lex Luthor. So, you know, that's why I guess it's easy for me. It's just like, oh, I really like Brandon Routh Superman, not a massive fan of John Cryer's Lex Luthor. And then it's like, oh, wow, he just took his spot. This is just going to turn into a Lex Luthor thing. When you said, what the hell to Lex taking Superman's place, I felt that. I'm glad it's not only me. A lot of these just seem to be Superman comments. I'm going to miss Brandon Routh as Superman. Damn it, Lex, I wanted more of Brandon Routh Superman in the finale. And again, I just keep scrolling down. I completely agree. I want to see more of Brandon Routh. I just find Lex completely annoying. Come on, where are the other comments? When Black Lightning lost his Earth, it downplayed the whole crisis for me, because obviously his world is going to come back. But to be fair, I got the same vibe at the end of Infinity War as great seeing Jefferson. Yeah, I know what you mean. But personally, I feel like Jefferson, I just feel like that moment on screen, he sold it very well. Cress Williams did a really great job in that scene, and, you know, it made me believe it for a second. I mean, you know, with all of these things, we all know that things are going to be fine in the future anyway, no matter what way Crisis ends, how much they really do adapt it from the comics in terms of, like, merging Earths and stuff. But yeah, that was a great moment. Black Lightning, it is great seeing him share the screen with the Arrowverse. It's a shame it took so long, to be honest, but I guess, you know, patience has been a virtue. Pariah acting is so good when he's creepy voice. So yeah, Tom Cavanaugh is great. I did find a couple, like, I love Tom Cavanaugh, why can't I speak? Tom Cavanaugh. But I have to admit, like, I remember this one scene where I did cringe a little bit. I don't know, I just didn't feel it. I don't know if any of you guys felt this, when Cisco, I think it was with Killer Frost as well. They were going to the door to go to that room, the control room with the antimatter cannon in it. And then Pariah appears and he's like, Nash? And he's like, no, I am Pariah. It just didn't sell it. Like, it was literally like that. Obviously, my interpretation of that was a lot awful, but I don't know. It was a bit cheesy. I don't know. Maybe there should have been a bit of like music in the background. Maybe there was. I can't remember accurately, but it's just the way that line was delivered. I don't know. Yeah. I love Tom Cavanaugh, but yeah. After seeing Michael Rosenbaum being Lex for so many years, it's hard to accept this new Lex. Okay, fair enough. This just, I mean, I need to agree nor disagree there just because I don't like John Cryer's Lex anyway, but like, I don't think that's because of Michael Rosenbaum, even though I really do like Michael Rosenbaum's Lex. This question's just making me think of what would that scene have been like? Would they have still got John Cryer's Lex to do what he was doing with Tom Welling's Clark Kent? I was about to say Superman, but tragedy there. We didn't get that. But no, you know, when he said President Lex, I didn't know the president was in town. Would they have included a scene with Lois watching the TV and then you had Michael Rosenbaum's Lex on screen? That maybe they would have done that and then maintained the Book of Destiny stuff with Lex Luthor, the John Cryer Supergirl version. But yeah, that's actually really interesting. I mean, that wasn't your question or like your comment. This isn't even a Q&A. But yeah, it just made me think of that. Let me know what you guys think about what they would have done with Michael Rosenbaum's Smallville Lex in this. It would have to have been like a presidential kind of appearance. Yeah, it's gotta be. Or maybe John Cryer's Lex would have visited the president. That would have been pretty cool. Just to look at himself. They would have had a Lex and Lex scene. Who knows? And I completely agree with this first line here, Matt. I like the conversation Brandon Routh Superman had with Lois about why he chose to include the black into the symbol. That no matter how dark the world gets, hope will shine through. As for my opinion, that scene was great. I didn't talk about it in my review. I actually cut it out just because my reviews go on forever. Otherwise, sometimes I literally do talk for 30 minutes and try and cut it down to like 15, just in case any of you wonder like why I don't talk about some things. But yeah, that scene, Superman, personification of Superman. As for my opinion on the crossover, I think some of it feels rushed. I agree. I was hoping for a cameo from Swamp Thing and Gothamverse. They would have done that, I think, or tried to have done that maybe if they were still going. I mean, I know you had cameos from shows that are long over. But yeah, actually, you know what? I'm surprised. Maybe they did try and contact people like David Mazouz or some of the Gotham cast. But then again, David Mazouz is like, what, 18? And I don't know if they would have included a kid Bruce with the way that series ended with him being older. I don't know. But yeah, interesting thoughts. So is Ryan Choi going to get his Atom suit during this crossover? I hope he does. Very good question. I really don't know. Maybe I don't necessarily think so. I think he will take the mantle or something like that. If, you know, when Ray Palmer probably dies in part 4 or part 5, he'll realize it's his destiny. But actually, I mean, maybe he might wear his suit, but I don't know if he's going to get his literal own suit. That's a very good, you know, question for me to ponder, to be honest. Personally thought I would not be able to sleep in between the break, but the way they've done the story, it's nothing I'm dying to see. I think you're right with people maybe overhyping it before, because the crossover just feels average to me. I'm not trying to hate on the... Yeah, this is... you're like kind of repeating what I'm feeling, even to this point. I'm not trying to hate on the Arrowverse. It's just my opinion for these first 3 episodes. And you even said you were really excited for it, like you thought you wouldn't even be able to sleep between the breaks. I wasn't quite at that level, but this just goes to show it's a good crossover, but it's just not... I mean, I'm not negating that there's people out there like, holy crap, like this is great, Jesus, this is amazing, can't wait for part 4 and 5. I'm really looking forward to part 4 and 5, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to pretend it's something it isn't, you know? I'm not going to pretend that this is the best thing I've ever seen. It's just, it's simply not. Hopefully the remaining 2 episodes will be fantastic and filled with action, but I'm keeping my expectations pretty low so I don't get disappointed again. Yeah, fair enough. Like, yeah, expectations can lead to disappointment. Yeah, I'm just enjoying the ride. It's just another event for me. I know it's Crisis, but I don't really know how to articulate this. It just is what it is. I don't think I'm really hyped about crossovers as much as I used to be, because even though you're getting all these characters together, there's some big event. This doesn't really feel much. It feels like a more poured in effort of Elseworlds. It's like, as I said, probably I've already basically spoke about this in part 1, reading your comments. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat myself, but I know not everyone's going to agree with that. Some people are going to get mad at this maybe, but it's just the way I feel. And I know, yeah, love it. Literally, another comment. Loving Crisis so far, a little bit underwhelmed. But yeah, this episode was amazing. Fair enough. I hope that I can say 4 and 5 are amazing. But overall, I'm just like enjoying it, but, you know, a little bit underwhelmed, but like whelmed at the same time, but not overwhelmed. You know, a lot of people say when you say, I'm feeling underwhelmed, people are just like, why don't you just feel whelmed? Well, it's just like, well, I just don't. I want to. Sometimes I do. But, you know, whatever. What the hell? Another comment. Reverse Flash. This isn't deliberate, by the way. I'm just scrolling down. I never hyped that much for Crisis. Didn't think it would be that good, but I'm overwhelmed. Okay, fair enough. Instead of underwhelmed. I didn't think it would be this good. So this is what I mean. Everyone's perspectives are different. I just don't understand what everyone thinks is so bad about this crossover. Personally, I love it. I don't think, well, maybe, of course, there are some people saying it's really bad. but that shouldn't be labeled as everyone. For example, I'm not one of those people. Just because I'm saying I don't think it's that amazing, doesn't mean I think it's very bad. But you know, just repeating more of myself that I said the past couple of minutes, it's just, yeah, it's probably the best crossover in the Arrowverse, of course, like with your last line there. But yeah, I think a lot of us are just not overwhelmed like you are. As simple as that, really. And more power to you if you are completely overwhelmed by this crossover. That's great. But where did Lex get the Book of Destiny if he was in the cell? I think, you know, it's a good question, but I think he would have written that Lex Luthor and Sharpie on that page before they got the book back. It's something he did. Like, he took a peek at the book when he was going around killing Superman around the multiverse, just as a failsafe, and it worked out. Yeah, again, scrolling down the page even more, like, wow, 2 in a row. I have to agree, the first 3 parts were underwhelming for me. I feel like, yeah, I feel like if I'm just gonna keep reading these comments out, people are like, baby, you're being so negative, la-di-da-da, a little underwhelming. I feel like more on the edge of my seat during Crisis on FX, which I was expecting. Wow, okay. That was a good crossover, but yeah, I don't know. I'm really liking it. See what I mean? People are just kind of all over the board. I feel like this crossover is good. I love this part. I love seeing Lucifer. See what I mean? It's just mixed. It's mixed. The crossover is at its best is just okay. Yeah, again, underwhelmed is an oversimplification. It's not just disappointment. It's an atrocity. Okay, that's too far in my opinion. It's definitely not atrocious of a crossover. But you know, I guess some people really feel a lot more powerful compared to like someone like me, and a few other people are just like, okay, it's not that great, but it's still enjoyable. And pretty good even at times. But yeah, I feel like this whole part 3 seems to be a lot of like, I suppose since it's the cliffhanger, people are saying what the verdict is so far. I mean, there's a few specific comments, I guess, about other things, but I think I'm going to end it here now. Because people are just saying, yeah, episode 3 was the best, but I'm underwhelmed with the whole thing. I'm just going to be repeating myself. A lot of people, yeah, again, Crisis is underwhelming, but I went into it knowing the CW's writers aren't the best. I'm still content. It's pretty good for CW. I agree. It's pretty good for CW. CW. I can't talk in part 3. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That is basically that. I hope you understand some of maybe the controversial opinions of mine. I say that just because I know some people are going to agree with me, but then other people could be like, how can you think that? I didn't think you could think like this. I get where those people are coming from, but just try and be open that everyone feels differently. I mean, you may prefer Superman over Batman, and I may prefer Batman over Superman. We're all different at the end of the day. I hope you guys found this video entertaining. I know it was a long one, but at the same time, it's just like you could tune out whenever with a video like this. It's just me really randomly reading comments about Crisis on Infinite Earths. But let me know if you want to see me do this for other shows, whether that's just The Flash, like reading your comments of the mid-season finale, or whether that's the Titans season 2. Now that's over. I don't know. It's kind of different from a Q&A because I'm not asking you to submit questions. It's me reading what you've already put your opinion on, and I find that quite interesting with me offering my opinions on your opinions. But other than that, everyone, as I said, hope you liked this video. If you did, it really does help out the channel. YouTube really seem to favor likes. I wish they didn't so much, but it seems to be one of the only things that seem to help bolster a video up. So if you leave a like on it, it really does help. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And that is absolutely everything. Oh yeah, one more thing, join my Discord server, especially if you've got this far. If you've got this far, then you should be in the Discord server. You should be a part of the community where we all just hang out, talk about all of this anyway. I join voice chats, I talk quite a lot in there, so it'd be great to see more of you there. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next Crisis. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.